Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat, and I know we're starting this pretty late. It's been quite a crazy weekend. As you may have heard, I sent out a poll. So I got sick. I'm not sure how to describe it because I didn't feel sick, but my throat was, quite messed up. I was actually pretty concerned for a little bit that I was going to have to go into the emergency room because it was, sore and swelling up to the point where I'm like, okay, well, at some point, if this keeps going, I'm not going to be able to breathe. So anyway, I've got all kinds of thoughts in my mind because of the things that are on the internet, like, is this disease X, something like that. Of course, it wasn't. Instead, the information that I found on the internet was actually helpful for once. It didn't tell me, to panic or, freak out or anything. It just said, ibuprofen will help with this problem. And sure enough, it did. Once I got some ibuprofen, it didn't go away, but I felt a lot better. I was able to breathe and swallow things and all of that. I would have gone on the internet. Like I said, I didn't feel sick. It's not like I had a fever or something, but I would have sounded about like this, and that probably wouldn't have been very entertaining, nor would it have been entertaining to have me sitting there doing like a text sort of thing. I don't know what I would. Maybe I could have gotten the robot voice like Stephen, the Hawking guy. That would have been an interesting one. I don't think that anyone would have found that entertaining. But hey, glad to see you guys here. I see Mutant Riff and Devil Dog already in the chat. Anyway, I heard something today. I know this intro is going a little long, but I heard something today. I just happened to be going through some videos on YouTube, and there was one from Glenn Beck talking about elites and super elites. Now, prior to this video, I had thought that there was only one level of elitism in the United States, but apparently there's further stratification, and the ideas that these people have for us, it kind of makes sense out of the crazy world that we're living in right now, once you understand what their motives are. Anyway, we can talk more about that coming up in just a second, so stick around. A little bit more caffeine before we jump into this. So as I was saying, there's a lot of crazy stuff, but before I get too far into that, I do need to encourage each of you to join in the conversation. I'm not an expert at anything. I just hear stuff just like all of you. So do us all a favor and share your knowledge with us in the chat if you're catching us live or by leaving your comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos or whatever the heck on this thing. Yes, that was young Chairman Mao. Join the revolution because it seems more and more likely that that's what it's going to take to be able to fix this crazy world that we're in. Let me get into this because I took some notes. I didn't get the exact numbers out of it. I want to, before I comment, I guess really go down that rabbit hole. I'd like to get the actual numbers from the information, I guess, whatever Mr. Glenn Beck was talking about. But, you look around the world, and it just seems chaotic. Like, everything that is happening doesn't make sense. You hear about population collapse, and at the same time you're hearing about population collapse, they're doing all kinds of things that will help the population to collapse even further. And you think, why would we want to do that? Or at a time there, you might see a commercial talking about global hunger, and then you'll hear some news about, rationing of meat or this and that. Or, people are struggling with the cold in the wintertime, and the next thing you know, they want to ration electricity. Well, saying, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Until I heard this, and I wouldn't encourage everyone to go and listen to what he had to say. I'm going to find the video again, and I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this. So if you're catching this after the live, you'll be able to actually go and see what I'm talking about. Now, I know that Glenn Beck somehow is he's a very polarizing figure. A lot of people on one side of the aisle actually on both sides, don't like him. They call him a crazy conspiracy theorist, but hear this one out, because I think in a crazy world, this is the only thing that actually makes sense of it. So again, I was saying there are apparently multiple levels of elitism in our society here. Now, I personally don't look at anyone and think like this person is superior to everybody else. I don't see the world in that way. I don't know if it has something to do with my going overseas and living abroad for a time, or if it's, the Americanness that's built into me. I kind of thought that was built into everybody, where we, have that belief that all men are created equal. Well, apparently they don't believe that all men are created equal, men and women, by the way. And whatever, that's another thing. We can't even say something which makes total sense. Somebody gets upset if you say it the wrong way, and it has to include every single possible, it's a crazy world we live in. But yeah, like I said, it starts to make sense, because apparently these super elites, even more than the elites, they believe that we need to ration electricity, ration meats, and cut back on our population. They literally believe in it. And I just started to think about it, Why, what is their final solution going to be? What is their end goal here? If they're really looking at the rest of us and thinking that we're some kind of, like, compared to them, of course, because they're super elites, keep in mind, that we are somehow subhuman or a subhuman species compared to them. And what is their solution? What is it that they're going to do? If they think that we're somehow using up all the resources that I guess that as super elites or whatever they have greater right to, because they're better, what is it that they're going to do with the rest of us? Where exactly is this leading? But it starts to make sense when you look at this and you start thinking about all the abortion stuff, right? Why would somebody advocate for their own destruction? Why would somebody advocate for their own genocide? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But they have people so caught up in these arguments that they don't even see what they're arguing. That when they're talking about, abortion rights, what they're really talking about is the right to exterminate their own people. The right to exterminate their own genetic lines. And it seems to be very targeted in certain segments of society. And, then again, it starts to make sense. They have looked at those groups of people and seen that is where the largest number of births are coming from. Now, this is just my mind thinking about it. Suddenly it makes sense. Why are they targeting these people? Because, I guess they don't want more people. And they see us all as subhuman anyway, so they're going to target them and try and eliminate them. That's their mission. I wonder if this can get me in trouble talking about it. It's crazy, even that. I have to worry that what I say in a free country could get me shut down. That's another thing. Where exactly are we going with this? What is it going to take to bring this back under control? Because I'm going to tell you right now, there is no one on this earth that is a super elite. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they've been told or been led to believe. They are not super elites. And it's getting about time that somebody told the Klaus Schwabs and all these people that see themselves as being this, that they're not, and bring them back down to earth. Now, I guess we could start with the elections. Hopefully that goes well. But we've got a little bit of time until then. Hopefully the world can hold together. I don't know what to make of it. But more and more I see that it's about time that somebody put these people in their place. Our own government is full of these people. Now, I don't think that they're the super elites, because they answer to someone who I guess that is a super elite. I don't know. Who are these people that make up this group, this mysterious group of people? I guess they meet in Davos. It's probably like the John Kerrys. Do you think John Kerry sees himself as a super elite? Or is he still just the regular elite class? Is he owes his allegiance to somebody? Joe Biden, the Clintons? Who are these super elites? It's absolutely crazy. Let's see, I see some comments coming in here. Ohio C, I don't make it too many lives, but I do like this channel. Hey, much appreciated. Glad you guys are here. Hadassah and Rain, good late tonight from Oklahoma. Hey, Oklahoma's not a bad place. I've spent a lot of time out there. When I am abroad, sometimes when I'm missing the United States, Oklahoma is the very place that I think of. There's some beautiful country out there when you're not running away from tornadoes. But yeah, it can be very beautiful out there. I know a lot of people don't know that. I guess maybe that's a secret that I should probably keep. But around the Tulsa area, it's a really beautiful place. Let's see, in Devil Dog, Mutant Riff, glad you guys are here. I saw that. Mutant Riff, World Economic Forum, we eat food, you eat bugs. Exactly. They're not talking about eliminating, the consuming of meat altogether, just rationing it, which means that when I go out to buy a steak for, my son and I'm going to end up spending like $50 on a single meal at home, that I have to cook myself. I don't know how much is it to go to the restaurant? I haven't been to a restaurant here in the United States in a while. I don't like to go because I know how to cook a steak. It's not like I'm going to the restaurant to have somebody cook it for me, but I don't know. Is it that expensive? Gosh, I guess it's always been that expensive if you go to the right place, but absolutely crazy. Let's see, from Schenectady, New York. I'm probably saying that wrong, but cool. Somebody from New York. Always glad to have people in here from all over the place. Tim Bailey. I know you. You've been on here before. So yeah, these super elites. I wonder, like I said, what their end game is, where that's going to lead, and what is going to happen to the rest of us. I really don't want to go down that road to find out what they're going to do. I think that it's about time that, like I said, we need to bring them back down to earth and show them that these people, they're not super elites. They're not better than the rest of us, and they don't get to make decisions like that for us. And that's exactly what they're trying to do over there at Davos. Let's see, Mutant Riff. I meet a friend at Black Bear Restaurant for breakfast once a month. It costs, with tip $29. Wow, it's crazy how expensive prices have gotten. I'm used to the way that they eat in China. So here in the United States, you go to the restaurant and you order like your own little portion, like, oh, I'm going to have this, and then somebody else is going to have that. They do it completely different. Eating at the restaurant is like a family dinner. So you order dishes and they put them on the table and everybody, you eat it like a family dinner. You have your plate or your bowl of rice or whatever, and you take your portions out of the different plates or dishes that they've got. And, it can get expensive. It can. You'd think that, like, oh, China, I guess it's a little bit of an outdated way of looking at it, that it's cheap over there. You can spend a lot of money going out to eat over there, but I feel like you get a lot more. If I'm spending like $30 for a plate of food, that's ridiculous. That's gotten so out of hand. How is it so expensive? I've found it absolutely crazy, even as expensive as that is. Like I said, I go to the store, I buy some steaks that I'm going to cook up for my son and I spend $50 on two little steaks. And I'm thinking, I thought it was cheaper to eat at home. How much does it cost to eat a steak at the restaurant? I don't know. But if it's $30 for breakfast, which is supposed to be the cheaper meal, then I don't know what's going to happen to us here. Let's see. Ohio C. I got Jimmy John's at work the other night, and one sub and a mini cost me $20. Yeah, there's no more of these $5 footlongs. I guess they never had that at Jimmy John's, but it's absolutely out of control. But that's inflation. It's inflation, but the rest of everything else hasn't caught up with it. I look at the economy. I see, oh man, even now, if I were to get on Twitter, I would see all kinds of people talking about how great the economy is. And of course, if you got on Reddit, there are people on there that are so brain dead that they'll talk about it in the same sentence that they don't have a job and they can't afford to live, and then still be talking about how great the Biden economy is. What did I see? I think I saw a post from Joe Biden on Twitter saying that we've been keeping the unemployment rate down below 4% for longer than anybody else. And it's like, is that even real at this point? I mean, how are they even coming to that number? It's absolutely crazy. Does anybody actually believe this stuff? I don't know how they can get away with it. They just stand there and, start saying all this stuff. They have no face. They have nothing. It's just a total joke at this point. How do they even get away with it? How can they? I guess Joe Biden is out of his mind, so he probably has no idea what's going on anyway. He's probably, we're keeping this stuff down. It's absolutely crazy to me. But the economy is terrible. It hasn't caught up. Inflation is out of control. You'd think that with that massive inflation that the economy would be expanding at a massive rate, but it's not. They've done everything they can to just destroy it. I guess we're going to have to deal with that on top of everything, Massive inflation and no jobs, no industry, no nothing, and no money. Let's see. Devil Dog, what is the best way to bring them back down to show them that they are not super elites? Well, I'm hoping that the solution is the election. I don't know. They seem to really not want us to elect Donald Trump. Now I know that for some people he's a very unpopular figure, but I feel like okay, if these people are pushing that hard against it, these so-called super elites and elites, then that's where I want to go. Let's go back to that. It's my understanding that things were a lot better in the United States back when Donald Trump was president. I wasn't actually, it's such a terrible shame. I left the United States when the economy was at its worst, like after 2008 and all of that. And I guess Donald Trump came in and things were great. At that time, I was in China. And the time I come back is when he gets defeated in COVID and all this stuff. And it's bad again. It's like nothing ever changed. Now, like I said, I've been told that things were a lot better when Donald Trump was in, that the economy was the best ever. I'd really like to experience that. Maybe we can put him in there and start getting rid of these super elites. Anyone who thinks of themselves as a superior human being probably doesn't need to be anywhere near power at all. Just my thoughts on that. Let's see. Mutant Riff. I see lots of restaurants that have been around for decades are just closing down. Minimum wages that are too high, people that can't afford to go out and eat, and the regulations. I saw something on that I found it. We always think about globalization and jobs like manufacturing jobs going away. I wonder how many people realized that service jobs could do the same thing. It's like HR these days. You don't even have to have an HR manager or HR team. You can outsource it. And not only that, it's possible to outsource it to an entirely different country. Service type jobs. If you're doing like accounting work, it can be outsourced somewhere else. All of these kinds of jobs are going away. The minimum wage, I have long spoken about this, or it's been my thought that having a federally or any sort of regulated minimum wage, it takes away any sort of bargaining power that you have. If you're a laborer, if that's all you've got is your labor, and they say, well, this is the minimum wage, you have nothing to bargain with. You literally have no power at all. You're subject to whatever if they want to give you the job or not. You can't negotiate, It puts you out of the job. In some places, maybe you could get by. If they're going to put a $15 minimum wage, that could just mean no job, no money. And there's nothing you can do about it because they can easily just move it out or replace everything with machines. And that's sort of what's happening here. So you look behind the scenes at any of these sorts of movements to raise the minimum wage, for example, and you're going to find a corporation like McDonald's is behind it. And there's a reason they are, because they know that their competitors, any little restaurant chain that's trying to rise up and become something, is not going to be able to afford $15 an hour minimum wage. They just won't. They will not be able to compete with the likes of McDonald's. McDonald's, they can take a hit long enough for all of those companies to go out of business. Same thing with Walmart or anybody else. They will push for it and act like they're on the side of the worker when really all they're doing is trying to eliminate their competition. Oh, let's pass a law. Let's say we have to have $15 minimum wage. Then everything goes out of business, and the next thing you know, all you've got is Walmart. All you've got is McDonald's. I would really like to have options, When I was in China, for example, there are thousands of different restaurants that are just owned by individuals. They don't have to deal with all, I don't know. Things have probably gotten a little bit worse. I've noticed that their situation is a little bit rocky when it comes to the stock market right now. They seem to have taken a bit of a hit, but yeah, any of that, I think it takes away your bargaining power. Who's the government to say what you can and cannot get paid? That should be up to you and between you and your employer. If you think that you can work for less, now I know that, there's going to be all kinds of arguments against it, but that's just the way that I see it. And it's unfortunate that things are the way that they are. Now, let's see. Ohio C. Oh, this is for Double Dog. I'm curious with all the building bunkers. Let's see. Okay, that's just the conversation. Yeah. It's crazy the way that the world is going. Now, they want you to think that World War III is coming. They want you to think that all this crazy stuff is going to happen, and maybe it will. I mean, there's been those battle plans or whatever, the information leaked from the Germans. I don't know. I feel like some of that is on purpose. They want you to be scared. They want you to be stirred up and concerned about all this stuff that they're doing so that you don't notice that they're just taking away your rights. They're turning you into some kind of a slave. And I don't want to live in the world that they're setting up for us. I just don't. Like I said, somebody needs to take these people and bring them down to earth so that they know, they aren't superior to anybody else. We're all created equal. There's nobody that's born better. There's nobody, well, I guess, like I said, some people think that they are, but they're really not. There's a lot of really smart people out there. You look through history, how many times have tyrants been in there, with long bloodlines of rulers, and then some peasant rises up and overthrows them? It's happened a number of times in China's history, something that I guess I'm a little more familiar with. But the Ming Dynasty, I spent some time in a place called Fengyang, and right now it's just a little county, which in their, I guess, strata of cities, that just means a small city. And at one point, it was going to be the capital of China. This was a long time ago, mind you. But at the time, there was a peasant guy who rose up and got an army and overthrew the emperor and established his own dynasty, the Ming Dynasty, the Ming Dynasty. And his family happened to be from there. So, yeah, why don't they look at that? I mean, was that person somehow like, I guess they weren't supposed to be a super elite or something like that? Is that, where does that come from? I don't know. But, it's terrible to think that they just look at you as garbage. They look at us as just, not deserving all those nice things. That was another thing that really gets to me. As someone who does a lot of traveling, who spends a lot of time abroad, I see that they also want to ration and limit travel on jet planes for regular people. Now, we all know, the same old thing about they fly to Davos on their private planes, and we look at them as hypocrites, but once you start to understand their mindset, you see that they don't really care. They know that it looks hypocritical, but what they're saying is that you are subhuman compared to them, and you don't deserve all of these modern conveniences. You don't deserve to have, a good diet of food, a healthy diet. You don't deserve to be able to travel and see the world. You don't deserve any of that. You just need to stay home and be a serf. And that's exactly what they're trying to set up for us. Let's see, Mutant Riff. I'm drinking some really good some tea there that was wet aged in Taiwan. I'm trying to think if I've ever had any tea from Taiwan. I've had all kinds of tea. Being in China, we always think of tea as just like the tea, but there's all different kinds of tea. I think most of the time when it was forced upon me was like, oh, well, this is special tea from the, Yellow Mountain or something like that. I never understood all of it. Going to a shop that sells tea in China is a unique experience. Like I said, you go in and they've got like their costume on and there's all these big barrels full of tea from different places. And, like I said, I didn't understand all of the stuff that was going on because I don't know anything about tea. I don't really drink it, but I understand for people that are connoisseurs of that sort of thing, there are a lot of those special sorts of teas, and I guess, I should learn more about it. None of my my extended relatives there, the in-laws, drink coffee or anything. They don't know anything about it. They only know about tea, and they think I'm crazy for drinking other caffeinated beverages besides tea. But there's some good stuff out there. I'm sure that from Taiwan there's probably some really good stuff. Lots of mountains out that way. Let's see, Ohio C. Okay, I hate to cut out early, but I have to go. Take care, all. Hey, take it easy. It's just about time for me to cut it off here. I think I'm going to go about 5 more minutes to make sure we get to 30 minutes now that I have a voice and I can actually talk. I need to find out what to do with the channel here. I want to keep doing these live streams, but I also have other types of videos that I make. Now, I'm thinking of setting up and moving all of the other content to a different channel so that people that want to just come in here for this sort of stuff, talking about current events and politics and all of that, they can just have that, and people that just want the other stuff can focus on just seeing that instead of getting caught up with all the political stuff. But we'll have to see what happens. I'll have to let everybody know, see what who wants what, because YouTube certainly doesn't like this sort of content. But what can I do? This is the world we live in. Let's see, 51 degrees. Oh man, we had a little bit warmer day. We went through a real cold spurt there where we had lots of snow here and terrible cold temperatures. But today it got up into the 50s. And I believe tomorrow is going to be warm as well, and possibly raining instead of snow. So all the snow is going to be gone. My son is very disappointed already because it started melting. But now that's what happens. It's El Nino. I guess it's the climate change is happening. When it gets cold, it's climate change, and now that it's warming up, that's also climate change. So we just take care and be careful. We're going to have to ration meat and all of that in order to fight the climate change, I guess. Anyway, I've probably blabbed on long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you guys, again, if you have anything to add to the conversation, be sure to comment. Let us know. Subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Hit the like button or the thumbs down button. I think most people have left at this point, so you probably already have, or if you are going to. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. We'll see you guys in the next one.
ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางปะกงทางห้วยงงหลงเกอหาโอเวรกรรมจำพรากจากไปไกลทาง